Hammer is one of those good items, I would say. And it's right there in the hash. It can't not be the weapon.
I mean, we already start with green mail, so it's at least 20%, right?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the logic I'm gonna go with anyway. We are off though. Gonna go watch the moth tutorial. That'll be nice and quick. Always fun to see what the Uncle Text is gonna be. One of my favorite things about this tournament being back in the standard mode was having the Uncle Text. Because of course that's different in open mode. There is no Uncle Text, because Uncle is already gone.
That's true. Gotta appreciate this while we got it, I guess. Because I'm a man of many phrases, many desires, many wishes.
You know what? It's good to have dreams.
It is, especially since that's pretty much all he gets. Since he shows up in the spell and then you don't see him again until the end.
King of Samaria, that's fine with me as well.
Yeah.
That allows for some really, really creative use of the Samaria blocks. Because you don't have to just detonate them to do damage. The block itself can take about 4 hits or so before it disappears, making it a very viable and flexible tool. Otherwise, Link's House and this chest only holding 20 rupees. Have yet to see a map check. Some runners prefer to do it totally after escape. We'll see what happens, see what their preference is.
Yeah, nothing thus far. I guess with the cane, the dungeon information is impertinent. Like if you get the bow early, then it becomes a bit more important, I would say, to do it early, just so you know Eastern Palace. Is that required or not? What's my strategy going to be going into the seed? But yeah, making our way through the front side of escape. And the great thing about Samaria is it's got cheap magic usage, and like you said, the blocks are very, very durable, making them a pretty good weapon to farm for bombs.
Yeah, definitely. That being another thing that I'll have to keep in mind. Prize packs being shuffled in the randomizer. A couple of enemies through the escape sequence share a prize pack, which can increase the odds of finding a bomb, or just cycling through that entire prize pack and finding nothing. But yeah, having Samaria be so free with the magic usage, you can take a few more risks with it and try to get that bomb drop from another enemy here and there.
Yeah, it's a little slower than some of the other weapons against some of the enemies, but I mean, sometimes that's worth it if you don't have to walk back through the back half of escape to get it.
Ooh, having a little bit of trouble with that blue guard for Data World, but recovers quite nicely. I think he tried to push it through and get the 3 hits on him, but kind of detonated it a little bit soon.
Yeah, that's the scary thing about these guards. Some of these weapons, the range is pretty short, and they don't really have like very quick wind-ups, so if they get on top of you, they can just walk all over you.
Yeah, and then you get a situation like what happened to Jenja just now, and the blue guard stuck his sword through the block and still hit him.
Yes, indeed. So, just a weird thing. Okay, so that wasn't the hammer. We found the Cane of Samaria and a full heart, and this our first few items, which were both in the hash. I was curious if we were going to see the hammer here, but the dream is not today.
No, fulfilling the full seed hash and escape? I wonder if that's ever been a thing.
I'm not sure. I would really like to know that, but...
I have to kind of doubt it. I mean, the heart container... I mean, we start with 3, so I mean, maybe we can use that to supplement what we're not finding elsewhere? I don't know.
Well, it has to happen eventually, right? If we generate every seed possible, it has to happen eventually. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we can... Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll go with that.
So Data World's gotten down to 1 heart. There are some in this left hallway, so should be just fine, but a little scary.
Mm-hmm. Yep, the 2 of them there. There's 1 in the first room of the sewers. Probably 1 or 2 others somewhere as well, I would think. So there's no shortage, really, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. It's a good thing, because some of these starts can be pretty rough. You might need them quite frequently, depending.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you wind up getting a weapon that you don't have a way to really defend yourself with, such as bombs. Like, if you're going through the snake room and the RNG there isn't great, you can take some really, really unwanted damage because you just don't have a way to fend them off. Samaria is going to help make that a little bit easier.
Yeah, it's a pretty good weapon for snakes. You can just put the block down, push it. Even if they come at you with the wall of snakes, as they like to do, it will bounce off that.
In this case, though, it looks like Well, it looks like it was some fantastic RNG. Taking a little bit of time to try and get a bomb allowed for a couple of the snakes to come at us. But hey, there we go. 8 bomb drop. Not bad.
That
Not
is
as good as
great.
it gets.
Yes, sir. It's gonna have us covered for not only Escape, but the entirety of Kakariko, maybe even beyond.
Yeah, possibly. I would suspect that for the end of Kakariko, there's a good chance we'll find at least another 3-pack somewhere. Oh, and there's another one that was in that same prize pack. Interesting.
It's funny.
So yeah, never fun to need to come back through escapes. Unfortunately, we're not going to need to. I've seen a couple of seeds recently where you actually... The game wanted you to come back through escape to get your first glove upgrade. You couldn't actually enter from the graveyard. There we have Fire Rod, Magic Powder, and a glove!
Oh my goodness.
Well, aside from the coincidence of talking about a glove right now, those are 2 other fantastic items. All in all, 3 for 3 in that cave.
Hey man, I'll take the powder any day. It's one of my favorite safeties in the game.
Without a doubt. Quite versatile, you know, the Fire Rod being one too that can... Not a safety necessarily, but something that can kind of elude you for a while, so that's probably on my top 5 list of items that I'm happy to see early if I'm playing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that back half escape just really paying out.
Yeah, without a doubt. All in all, good escape times, given that we had Samaria. Got a quick map check on Data World side. I think it looked like 2 regular crystals, at Eastern and Desert, and then I think Red Pendant? Possibly Blue? Not sure. At Tower of Hera.
Yep. All I know is it wasn't the Green Pendant, which is the one everybody cares about. So, not too bad. Hera's kind of one of my least favorite pendants to see, just because when you go up Death Mountain, you're going to be going up Death Mountain looking for items, and it's really nice to have Hera there required, just to get it out of the way. You don't have to like worry about, well, do I go into Pendant Hera or not, because it takes a while, you know?
Yeah, you know, I totally agree with that. It's just one of those little nuisances of Rando. It's like, if it's required, then great, I gotta come in here anyway. You know, taking that a step further, I actually love having the big key in the basement when it's a crystal, because everybody has to sit through Tile Room, then you're not gambling on an item being down there.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely agree with that. So there were just 2 arrow upgrades in our forest to start with, so nothing too exciting.
No, not yet. And speaking of unique strategies that many runners tend to differ on, neither one of them have gone to check the Lumberjack item. Becoming more and more of a common thing, I think, to kind of wait until you have the necessary items to even get it before seeing what's there.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most common strategy. Some runners will check that even if they don't have the boots, just to get the information on it, and that can be very helpful. You can sort of plan your route around if it is required. But yes, most runners seem to like to route that in with Bonk Rocks if they have to do it. So
Sure, 1-2 punch. And speaking of a 1-2 punch, we found Bombos in the bottom of Blind's house, and a couple of other junk items, bomb upgrade, some more rupees.
Well, we do need a bit of more money to get this bottle vendor item, which we'll find in the well. But we got 2 of the fire items thus far. Will we find the lamp soon enough, you think?
Probably not. I'm gonna go with no.
Yeah, it's really likes to hide.
Well, there's a few more bombs in the bottom of the well, so that'll definitely get us well beyond Kakariko at this point. And Cane of Burna in the back as well, another 20 rupee. 300, that's good to find. Not a bad idea to pick up those couple of pots, get those extra 5s as well.
Yeah, it takes so little time, and if you do sort of spend time collecting the little rupees, they do add up later, so... Whoa.
That looks like a pretty worthwhile purchase to me. What do you think?
$100 for butter knife? Heck yeah.
But it cuts butter better than any other butter knife. Makes it taste so much better. Definitely worth it.
Yes, indeed.
So Jenya, not too far behind, gonna pick up the fighter sword as well in just a moment. Continue on through fairly standard Kakariko routing at this point.
Yep, just going through the motions at this point. Finding the fire rod and the sword this early does make you think about Skullwoods once we get some Darkwood access, though we're still 2 items off from that.
Mm-hmm.
In the library we have just a piece of heart.
We'll take a look and see what's in the maze game. What's your preference on this? Do you like to dip down and check it first, or do you just go on through?
Me personally, I like to check it before I go through it, just because the bomb comes in handy on Mini Boulder Cave, which we're usually doing after this, and it's not a very common thing. That's something that you want there, you know. So, how about you?
You know what? I'm the same way. If I have the boots, I'll usually just bonk on through, just because that's quick enough that I'm not losing too much time if I'm wrong. But hey, you know what? That's another one of those small things that people differ on, and there's all sorts of preferences, and nothing's right or wrong. It's a great thing about this game is that you can learn many different strategies, adopt your own, just based on watching people play things slightly differently.
Yeah, so there's a lot of room in Rando to be creative and develop your own style, which is just such a neat thing about it. So definitely agree. There's no wrong answers really in Rando. Well, I guess there are wrong answers, but they're very rare, you know.
Hey, I was going to say the default is that most of the answers are wrong, because you're never getting through the seed as easily as you used to. But we have flippers here, not bad. Still a little bit shy on money to fulfill the entire Zora area.
Still not a bad find. Finding flippers early. Again, something with V29 Aga being required a lot more. Seeing flippers early just kind of worries me more than it makes me feel good, because that can be a way to do the West Side Dark World.
It could be.
But hey, we got him, so maybe we'll need him.
Yeah, I mean, even for that, we would still need to find Hookshot, Moon Pearl, and a lamp, and a sword or cape to even have an Aghanim thing. But we have Ether and more money, so we can at least fully check out the Zora area.
It's a very nice spot to find $300.
Absolutely. One of the best, I think. Actually, it's kind of in a vanilla location. I mean, normally the thief gives you the 300 rupees in that cave.
Yeah, so it is.
Just a heart piece on the island, nothing really that we have to worry about.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be getting that. Be quite desperate. Let's see what Mr. Hobo has today.
Nice use of the shield.
Yeah, always like to see that. Well,
Red potion.
That's vanilla-ish.
Yeah, we can call it that.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going for a timeline, maybe the vanilla game is later than Rando when he drank the potion already. Gives you the empty bottle instead.
I was just about to say that.
So yes, that'll open up the remainder of the immediate Kakariko village. We can check Sitkit at some point. It wouldn't be too out of the way to actually take that portal right there that Data World is passing. After Ice Rod Cave even, and swing by Kakariko and then come on back to the Hylia area.
Yeah, that's one portal you don't really see used too often, but that would definitely be a good time to use it if you're just going back there to check Sitkit. I don't see why not.
Seems like we're kind of trading spaces right now. Jenya, I believe, also saving and quitting out of Ice Rod Cave to come back and do this stuff. Check the hobo, and then we may see them both meet up around Zora.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Data World might get there just a teensy bit faster, but that's definitely where these two will be heading, I think. It's too tempting this early. You got flippers and the money for Zora.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
You know it's going to be nothing like 10 arrows or something, but you just have to check it.
It's just one of those things you gotta do. Because the one time you don't check it, guess what? It was Mitts.
Well, there's a mirror. inside the waterfall cave. Definitely a great item. Not in sequence right now, but we could at least get up to the top of Tower of Hera. That wouldn't be a whole lot of value. It's not even a crystal. But this is just one of the options that the Mire actually opens right this moment.
Yeah, still that lamp or flute somewhere in the world. That'll be our logical access to Dark World, or Death Mountain, rather.
Gotta be accessible somewhere soon, I would think.
Yeah, I would think so. With these items, it's seeming like lamps is going to be somewhere soon. Maybe. What does Mr. Zora have today?
Moon Pearl! Okay, well, that's a very valuable thing.
Well worth the 500 rupees, I would say, yes.
I would say worth a bit more, even.
It's a pretty good deal. This one time.
And yet that Moon Pearl alone doesn't actually let us get anywhere else. We're gonna have to go take a look at Sahasrarla's back room and Eastern Palace, because further progression, whether it be hammer or flute or one or two other things, would need to be in this area for now.
Yeah, we will definitely.
Go ahead.
No, okay, I was just gonna say, yeah, we'll definitely find something over here. It's just a question of what we find will determine what we do next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we could find even the book that could take us into desert, and depending on what's on the torch, that could be a clearable dungeon at this point. There's a hammer, so there's our Dark World access, and we're just gonna nope on out of there, not even bother checking Eastern. Good play, in my opinion.
It's very understandable. There's so much open to us now, it's making my head spin a little bit.
I wonder, are we seeing Jenja take the Death Mountain sequence break, or are we just gonna go and take a look at the Lumberjack? No, we're going up.
Alright.
Interesting. You know what? It's the kind of thing that could absolutely pay off.
It absolutely could. I wonder if he's going to go into Hera as well, or if he's just going to get the save and quit spot and check the easy stuff.
Yeah, tough call. I mean, either one would be plausible. I think if you're going to come all the way up here at this point, you just take the plunge and go into Hera too. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see that. I think he'll probably walk in and see. If it's basement locked, I wonder if he'll stay or not, but I guess we'll find out.
I mean, it's one of those things where you're early enough in the game that it's probably not too much of a consequence if you guess it and you're wrong. But we'll see how that shakes out. It's a Dark World map. I see red crystal at Misery Mire, green pendant at Skull Woods. It was a fairly quick check. I couldn't catch anything else.
Yeah, things that I saw as well. That's a rough one too, because when you find the fire rod and the sword this early, you don't want to be thinking, is progression on green pendant? Is that what this is trying to tell me?
Right.
Well, Data World is going all the way to the back, so what this tells me is maybe they're considering clearing it right now and just working their way from the back forward, maybe? I wonder.
Yeah, who knows? It looks like the other Pyramid Fairy Crystal is at Ice Palace, so I think those are actually vanilla Pyramid Fairy Crystals, 5 and 6.
I think you're right, yeah, those are some rough ones.
I mean, the good thing about those is that, by logic, there's not a whole lot that can actually be at the Pyramid Fairy then. I mean, bow or ice rod, perhaps?
That's true.
Perhaps one or two other things, situation depending, but really not much. So yeah, we're gonna see Data World take a peek into the back end of Skull Woods right away. This could be a little dicey. I'm pulling for him though. 6 hearts, green mail, and a fighter sword from Moth.
This is not the ideal conditions to fight Moth. He does have a red potion, which
That's
helps
helpful.
a teensy tiny bit, but
you know
it's
what
very
though?
interesting.
The confidence is evident. He made the decision, saw it was green pendant, and just went straight to it, so I think he's got it in the bag.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. This is a play of confidence. This is something you don't normally want to do in Rando. So if you're choosing to do this right away, you probably feel pretty good about your Mothula fight.
Right. Unless you're me and you just go in there because it's an item location, and then you realize as you're falling down, crap, I'm not equipped for this.
Alright, I got the stinky butter sword.
So far, looking really, really nice. Mothula is going to do 2 full hearts of damage between contact and the energy waves. I don't actually know what those are called, if they're called anything. Spikes will do 1 full heart, regardless of what color mail you have on. But there we go. Very nicely done.
Very nice indeed. And while Dataworld was killing Mothula, Jenja finding the ice rod in Tower of Hera big chest.
So that is exactly what we call the worth of a play like this.
Yeah, we need that.
We
need that
do.
ice rod.
Yep. So yeah, Dataworld's definitely going to need to come up here at some point. We got plenty of time. We're only 21 minutes in, just about 21 minutes in. But yeah, was not expecting to see the ice rod of all things here.
Well, the ice rod does like to hide everywhere and anywhere, even Turtle Rock itself, so...
And a mushroom! So, Pendant Dungeons being full of mystery at the moment.
Yes, indeed, that's... So we've got 1 item left in Skullwoods here, so I'm gonna have to check a few more chests. But the front side is definitely the fastest area to actually clear out, so be out of here soon.
It's true. We're just gonna enter from the main entrance even. Take a look at this chest on the right, possibly see a bomb jump, depending on... Yep, there's a small key. So the good thing about having a small key right there, entering from the front, is that we can just go straight to the left side and not have to worry about falling into that pit. But first, we're going to line up a bomb jump. Looks good. Make it across. And find the map. So we got to keep going.
Coming in this way is just so convenient. When you have the mirror anyway.
Yeah, well, it really is. And compass. It's always the last chest, isn't it?
Always the last chest. That's the worst when there's the 2 items in Skullwoods are on the opposite ends of the dungeon, because then no matter what you do, you're checking everything. Oh wow!
Silver arrows in the basement of the Tower of Hera.
All right then. So Tower of Hera is absolutely worth every second.
Candidate for most valuable pendant dungeon of the year.
Yes, indeed. I guess it depends on what's on that mushroom and the green pendant. Skullwoods may be giving Tower of Hera a run for the money. We'll find out later.
This is true. I mean, it would have to be something pretty spectacular to outweigh both of those valuable items. But, yeah, I mean, it could be. So Jenja now heading to the Sahasrarla's house, the one and only. And the hammer's in the back of that. Curious to see where he's going to go next. Probably Dark World, although possibly a dip into Eastern. I mean, if we went up the Tower of Hera at this point, all bets are off. We can do anything.
Yeah, he might. I think he was going to save and quit, because if you want to dip into Eastern, you might as well dip into Pod while you're at it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Also true.
I see. I like this play a lot. Jenja is going to opt to do the South Shore first. There's so many items down here, and when you're this low equipment, checking these and seeing if it's like a mail or a sword is really nice. So,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, a lot of different preferences there as well between initial Dark World entry, Village of Outcasts, or just north of the dam. Some people, I mean, depending on the equipment you have, might even enter from south of Pod. But yeah, these 2 plays definitely the most common starts, and both of them having about equal value most of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the big considerations... Ooh, hello.
Yikes. Speaking of value...
That's a good item. That's Swamp Palace clearable now.
Oh no, don't say that. This early?
It's early. Yeah, in this situation, which Dark World route you take is really just preference. The only consideration, really, is if you don't have the Mire, and you don't want to, for example, like orphan a Mire spot as easily. Like the Graveyard Ledge is very hard to route in normally. Might push Slasher first for that. Find another red potion in these towns. This is quite a good dungeon so far. Oh, we're done?
We're done, apparently. We're just this. Stick with the first 4 and move on out of there. It is a pendant, the blue pendant, the final pendant. Which is interesting, actually, because that puts all 3 pendant dungeons almost in clearable logic at this point. We still don't have technical sequence up to Death Mountain, but all 3 of them would be beatable at this point if anyone wanted to place any sort of a gamble on that.
Oh man, well, we're 1/3 of the way there for both these guys. Who knows?
Just 20 rupees from Little Stumpy. And we'll get to see what's at the digging game. 1 through 30 digs, who knows how many it'll be. Who knows what it'll be. Could be nothing, could be something fun.
Could be a shovel.
Could be a shovel. Could also be bombs.
Can be bombs. Just waiting for the day they dig up a shovel. Hasn't happened yet, but you see a lot of variance in the way people dig their holes too. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, there's definite patterns with it. Some people like to just draw shapes. Kind of difficult to draw shapes when the squares that you dig in, though, are so large themselves. But it's always fun to see what people come up with. And after that digging game, we see Jenja heading north. I suspect going to first to the Magic Bat, and then possibly to the Village of Outcasts portal.
Did Data World check the bat?
I don't believe so. I do not recall seeing it.
Yeah, me neither. This is another location that's really good to get out of the way when you can, just because it's hard to route in, and it's easy to forget. It's very easy to forget that bat.
Definitely is. I mean, we can assume that they'll come on back once they find Titan's Mitts, but yeah, if you're local to it, definitely a good idea to just get it done, knock it out right away. And in this case, not really paying off, only getting some money as our prize for it. We can carry more junk now.
Oh boy. Well, the powder is still good on its own, so I can't feel too bad about that.
No. I'm happy about it, in fact.
Very happy. Oh, Sick Kid as well. I believe Data World probably checked this.
I want to say yes. Unless I'm just having like the weirdest deja vu right now, but I think Data World stopped in.
Yeah, I think so as well. Both of those locations just giving us a big 20.
And now I wonder, are we actually getting the swamp play? You know what? I mean, chuckle at it all you want, because 30-minute swamp, but you know, it's a dense dungeon in terms of item locations, and it's a crystal, so there's really no fault in it whatsoever. It's a solid choice.
Yeah, I support it. I mean, if you can get this done, and it's early, I don't see any reason not to do it. As you said, it's very dense. Most dense dungeon, 6 items, can be a little bit slow to get all 6 items, but still well worth the dip, I would say. And it's also very safe. It's very hard to die in Swamp Palace, because Argus is a very easy boss, no matter what your equipment is, so... Oof.
Ooh, Jenja taking an unfortunate hit. The Wrath of the Dark World, minimum of like 2 hearts of damage from almost everything.
Yeah, that's the very scary thing about these early Dark Worlds, when you don't find a lot of hearts early. It's very easy to die to almost anything.
Yeah, like I think these water spiders are only going to do a full heart, but as we get later on, there's lots of things that'll do a full heart to you here. Argus does 2.
Yeah, so you gotta be careful which way you pull the puffs. If you pull them down on you, you're gonna get hit before they die, so...
I mean, with any luck, maybe we'll find another heart container or 2, or some sort of a mail upgrade.
That would be very welcome at this point.
And because as nice as the seat has been in terms of the actual Y items, we're lacking in health compared to, I would say, the average.
Yeah, usually you'll get, just because there's more heart containers and heart pieces than there are Y items, you usually see them pretty frequently early on. So it's, yeah, it's just a really scary thing. At least Skull Woods is not required, so Jenny won't feel pressure to fight Moth, which is a very difficult fight with this equipment.
Mm-hmm. Now, the one curiosity that remains out of Skull Woods is what that green pendant is going to become.
Well, I guess the mushroom is also Mystery Skull Woods too, right?
Yeah.
If it's anything like the other fetch quests, it's going to be $20, but who knows?
You know what's nice? I mean, if we find nothing in Swamp that's going to steer us in another direction, there's a sword, so that's good. Doesn't alter our course, though. Dataworld could mirror straight after this dungeon, dip into the light world, and take that portal just one screen north. Go straight to the witch from there.
Yeah, absolutely. You could also head straight to Catfish while you're doing that. Why not?
Well, that would be even better, I guess. Ignore the mirror plan. just walk up, check pyramid.
Yeah, I don't think that would be a bad idea. It's Catfish is one of those locations, especially when you've already checked Zora. It's really hard to find time to fit that in, so I approve.
Yeah, I mean, it's most ideal to be able to check Catfish and then mirror to Zora, but you really don't see that too often. The game just doesn't really allow for it most of the time.
Yeah, sometimes the stars line, you can make that happen, but it's not what I would call common at all.
Right. It's a bit of a reverse order for Skull Woods, with Jenja starting at the front as Dataworld had started at the back. But as we know, based on item locations, you're going to have to keep going all the way through.
Yeah, you got to be psychic to home in on those items, because it's certainly not in a very what's the word I'm looking for? Intuitive order. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean that works.
Oh no!
Oh, getting grabbed by the Wallmaster.
That was really good positioning by that Wallmaster.
Yeah, I guess we got to give the Wallmaster props, don't we? Almost got him again too. Meanwhile, we're on left side swamp. We're about to open our second chest. Finding the lantern. There's the lantern, hey! We found it!
There it is, I swear, it's in swamp so often. I don't know why, but I feel like I see it there. And Fire Rod just there a lot. But that is our Death Mountain access logically, so I wouldn't be surprised if Dataworld heading up there after swamp is done, potentially.
Yeah, that could very well be. Having Hammer 2 is going to strengthen the idea for that. I'm sure that's where you were going with that, though. Be able to get the right side after the do I do Tower of Hera pendant or not decision. But here we have Jenja going straight for the mushroom. Gonna be really curious then. That's gonna be both items. Do we take care of Mothula or do we just dip on out?
Let's see. Jenja's going for it.
Yep. Could definitely still be the required play. We don't know what the green pendant is gonna have for us yet.
I think if you take a shot at it, that's fine. If you die, then just maybe do something else. But taking a swing at Mothula when it's green pendant doesn't feel like a bad idea.
No, not at all. And again, it's one of those things where, like I said with Tower of Hera, if you're going to take the plunge and you're going to come up all this way, there's really not much harm in just committing to it, sticking it through. Not a good place to take some damage, though. We're down to 4 hearts. Getting a little bit of revenge on the Wallmaster, though, thanks to fire splash damage.
It's very, very nice.
Nice. Took a little bit of damage before picking up that fairy and quickly recovered from it. Nice. So we'll have 2 simultaneous boss fights in a moment. Neither of which under totally ideal circumstances.
No, not really. At least Argus is slow and fairly ineffective at his job. Mothula, on the other hand, is the slayer of Lynx.
But here we go. Nice double hookshot strategies, getting 2 puffs at a time. Super, super efficient. Not the easiest thing to pull off, either.
No, it's really not. It's very easy to poke one of the puffs if you're not really quick with your movement, or just hook it twice like that.
Ooh, barely getting away from that other puff, almost taking damage. These puffs and Argus will do 2 full hearts, so have to be a little bit careful, but should be just fine.
Ah.
Whoa, it's like sitting right on him. Nice, 3 fire rods, a triple on that, and the spin to finish it off.
That was really, really good Argus fight. Also showing really good awareness of the puffs, respecting the fact that they will hit you if you don't kill them in one hit, so... very, very impressive. Jenja.
Speaking of impressive, yeah, we got some really, really good patience from Jenja right now just to make sure that the spikes don't hit him. And to just wait for Moth to not be such a Moth. What are you doing over there?
Moth this jerk.
Seriously, there's a hit.
Yeah, that's just so important. It's when you're trying to speedrun the game, patience is hard to come by. Very nice, very well done. But sometimes patience is exactly what you need. Jenja's showing that right there.
Yeah, very, very well done. You might have noticed too, right before that final hammer hit, Mothula actually kind of did like a death charge to you. That's something that does happen if you're in the fight for a little bit too long. And it's interesting because Moth's erratic movement just gets even more erratic at that point and just comes straight for you, but we managed.
Yeah, as the fire rod in the dungeon, it's also a very intense fight like a fire because it gets crazier and crazier the longer you let it go on, so...
That's a good comparison. So yeah, we've got both our runners at 35 minutes now with mostly the same equipment, a couple of variances. Dataworld has the hook shot while Jenja has the ice rod. They're both heading into locations right now that they could pick up the items that their respective opponent has. So all in all, this is this is super close at this point. Any number of routing things could change the flow of the tide for this race. Any number of decisions. For example, Jenja could decide to finish Thieves Town and find something game-changing. Dataworld could find something that could provide a nice advantage over on East Death Mountain. We have not seen this area of the game yet.
We have not, and there's a lot of items over here. I guess it's also worth noting that Jenja, if they complete Thieves Town, they can pull a Pedestal, which might be worth thinking about, potentially.
You know, it's really crazy to think about at this point.
I mean, you're
37 minutes in, and yeah, the third pendant dungeon is right on our doorstep. We know that the hookshot was within that pendant dungeon, so who knows what other value might have also existed. Did Dataworld find 2 or 3 items, though? I'm not sure.
I believe they found 2. I think they had 1 map, big key, and then 2 items, but...
Okay. So then, yeah, there would still be at least another 2 items to go. Or I should say, at most.
Yeah. I mean, you're 2/3 of the way to the pedestal. Gotta be thinking about that, too. Maybe just go for it.
Maybe. I mean, given your proximity to it, though, if you clear this dungeon and beat blind, do you go pull it right now, just for the fun of it?
Yeah, I think so. I think as soon as you get that availability, you just go for it. Maximize the advantage, if there is one.
I'm only seeing bombs on top of the lake, not Lake Hylia, that's not Lake Hylia.
Nope.
There is like some sort of invisible water up there, though, if you throw an enemy into it or flip down somehow. But that's neither here nor there. The lake, wow, I almost did it again, the Lake Mountain Island, nice. Malik, could you tell me what was on that island, because I'm clearly having trouble with it.
I think it was bombs. The floating island.
Bombs. Floating island, I just couldn't get that name out.
Ooh, Dataworld. I wonder if they're saving quitting there to go back up to Mountain. Yeah, looks like it. I was wondering if they were any good Hera or not. I expect that's what they'll do now.
Yeah, Spike Cave's also in the logic, so we'll see what might be there. You know, I guess this is another one of those locations, like you've been mentioning, that are just kind of quirky to route in. Like, if you're in the area, you get stuff done. Like, Jenja doesn't have as much of a motivation to head back just for Spike Cave, but Data World, being first time here, actually has pretty good reason to check it, either before or after Hera.
Yeah, and he routed his east of Mountain check in a really convenient way to do with that. If he decides to clear Hera, he'll have full health and magic. Like, he has most of it right now, but if he does decide to do that, he can just hop right down and do Spike Cave right away. Instead of to make the decision between that and Spiral Cave, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's actually really, really efficient routing on his part. Really good heads-up play.
Well, Jenja did opt to come back here to the back half of Thieves Town, so very interesting.
Certainly piques my curiosity. I mean, aside from what might be remaining in this dungeon, there's a compass. Taking a quick gander then at what could actually be on the pedestal, and the boots or bow, or possibly the Quake Medallion, are options. Flute is also a possibility, so there's actually a fair number of things that could be there that could shape the outcome of the game.
Yeah, it could be anything we don't have right now, which is pretty exciting to think about, because there's a lot of stuff we still need. So that could definitely be the play.
Oh, that's true. That's a much better way to put it than me trying to narrow it down. I mean, yeah, book could even be there just for desert access. Mitts could be there. I mean, there's really, yeah, like you said, anything we don't have now. Anything could be helpful.
Oh, that's an interesting setup for this bomb jump.
Yeah, that like knocked him perfectly into position. I've never seen that before.
I've never seen it either.
But
we did find another sword in Thieves Town.
We sure did. So that's 3 swords now that we know the location of. Putting both runners at the Master Sword strength level for the moment. And we know that the small key has locked itself in the big chest of Thieves Town, so we can just head on through. I'm not sure if we're still missing an item. I believe we are, though.
I do believe we are, yeah. And of course, it's the one time we have the hammer.
Right? But either way, I guess we're happier to see that than to be here without the hammer and need to go in there.
I mean, you don't have to go in the room. That's always nice.
Really, really nice blind fight for Jenja, following the script beautifully. And picking up pendant number 3.
Yeah. I wonder if that sword was worth it if Pedestal's nothing. I'm gonna say maybe. Oh no, Dataworld! Dataworld's leaving Silvera's behind.
Oh no, oh no.
That could be important.
There is still another item there, yeah, in the basement. Well, if that's the case, then that might be the answer to your sword question right there.
Yeah. Every sword matters quite a lot when you're going silverless.
Without a doubt. And of all the interesting things to see in the Link to the Past randomizer runs, we have our first dungeons completed for Jenja, all pendants, and we are just going to go straight for the pedestal, pull it, blind pull it, and geez, what's it going to be?
Mitts, I'm guessing?
Mitts is a good possibility.
Oh.
Or a piece of heart, so not required. But certainly an interesting play. Very, very exciting to see that so early.
It doesn't actually hurt him that much either, because his opponent also did 2 of the 3 things he did. Maybe even 2.5, if you're gonna get technical.
Yeah, I mean, we're 40 minutes in. You're not taking a huge time loss even on walking that, what was it, less than a minute just to get up there and pull it?
Yeah.
So, looks like Swamp Palace is going to be the next play for Jenja. We still have all of Pod and Eastern collectively becoming a very, very dense area, which we see Data World approaching right now. So, based on not finding anything aside from a sword in Swamp, I have to assume that the next progression is going to be somewhere over here for Data World.
Yeah, could be here. I don't think we saw Graveyard Ledge or Catfish or Pyramid.
We did not. We also have not seen Agana's Cave, so a couple of sparse locations left to check. Oh, speaking of, here's the green pendant.
Alright, what you got, old man?
Just 10 arrows, so none of these quests are really becoming too exciting.
No, not at all. These are like the crappy low-level side quests you see in RPGs. It'd be like little spending money and some useless arrows.
You know, it's the thought that's put into those gifts, though, that makes it all worthwhile. Especially in an RPG setting, you know you feel good after doing whatever it was to get you that item.
And it's true. Sometimes the act of a good deed is worth its own reward.
Couldn't have said that better myself.
Strasha's not really a very rich person, apparently. Especially when they've got Link busting in the back of their house and stealing everything.
That hammer would have been useful for him, I guess, but he can't even use that now to fix the door.
That was going to be the green pendant reward, but you stole it.
We stole it early. I guess Sahasrar's infinite wisdom is going to have to pay off then. Those 10 arrows actually serve a purpose.
A lesson. So we're going to see this goo glitch here. This minor glitch that we discovered not too long ago, I would say.
I think it was very soon before this tournament started that it was first brought to light. It's very, very cool. So the way that works is if you have a red potion, actually it works with any potion. So if you're going to use red, of course, you have to lower your health a little bit. If you're going to use green, you have to have some sort of magic availability. And you use the potion as you're walking left through that hallway before the Mimic's room. And walk up the very rightmost edge of the wall, going into the doorway so that you kind of hug the doorway and clip it as you're walking through, and that kind of dislodges the camera a little bit in a way that you can manipulate the mimics to get off screen. Once that happens, the door opens, you move on, easy peasy.
Yep, game assumes they're dead if they can't see them, so good for pacifist runs. Which there are none.
Not for this game.
Does make these pod dips without the bow much less risky, just because you are going to get, ooh, hello.
Fourth sword.
Yes, indeed. So we know where every sword is now.
I will say, I don't think that I've seen the potion glitch pay off too much in terms of like direct progress. But one thing that I find fairly often is that the big key tends to, or can be on the right side fairly often, which being able to still get that and check the big chest, it's just I mean, for me at least, it's a big weight off of my shoulders, and being able to check as much of the dungeon as possible right away.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to come in here, because the double dip into pod isn't that big of a deal if you can just clear out the rest of the dungeon while you're here. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's rare that it's really useful, but when it is useful, it's really nice. So
yes. And just the map, so we haven't really seen anything else noteworthy in this dungeon. We picked up that sword, of course. Both players having the tempered variety of sword at this point, and we're going to see a bomb jump from Dataworld, a hammer jump.
Guess he really wants to save the small key. Must have skipped some of the chests in the front half. These this slow. Oops.
It's going to have to go all the way around. That bridge is not going to reset just from that room, I don't think.
Nope.
Nope.
You're right. Well, forget that. Just go through this door the normal way.
And unfortunately, he's going to have to go all the way around, back through the Mimic Room if he ever wants to get another... Well, he can't complete this anyway yet without the bow. So he'll have to come back regardless. But yeah, there's going to be another small key lurking somewhere in that first area, possibly the vanilla big key chest. But then we have blue mail in the big chest itself. Very, very nice find. So we'll take a look inside of Eastern Palace now. Up to 3 items that we could find here, depending on what's on Armos.
Yeah, I mean, the The male upgrading the sword's nice, I guess. It's not really what you want to be seeing, but at the same time, finding progression and sequence broken pod is kind of scary. You don't want to forget your the plot of the seed and be looking for your progression in places it can't be. But yeah.
Well, what do you think that we're going to find next? I don't think we've dabbled on that topic yet.
Well, I want to say Mitz so we can get Ice Pass, I guess.
Okay, that's fair.
How about you?
Well, Mitz would certainly be a good one to open up quite a bit of the world. I don't know. I personally prefer it when it's a little bit bottlenecked, so I think I would go for the bow just so I can knock out these 2 dungeons, and then go from there. I feel like if I had the Mitz right now, it'd be a little bit too open for my tastes, but would still certainly be happy to see them.
Yeah, the bow would be very convenient to find right here when you get your Dark World portal all set up. Alright, let's do this.
Well, let's see. Blue rupee. It's not helpful. We don't need to spend on anything else.
Yeah, we got plenty of money. Not a lot else to buy in this game, except potions, of course. Well,
Red rupee. So 1 more item. And it does not need to be here. We still have a couple of one-off locations scattered throughout literally the corners of the world.
Yep, got Agana in one corner. We got Catfish in the other corner, in a different world.
That's an important notation as well.
Well, I don't want people getting lost. And like, well, what do you mean? This is the place with the catfish. There's a different fish that lives there in that world. It's important to be very clear.
Catfish is just Zora without the moon pearl?
I guess so. I guess in the Dark World he's not really greedy. He doesn't charge you anything for the item he has. He just wants to be left alone. Cool.
Book of Medora. Okay, so we have access to both tablets. We have access to Desert Palace. And again, torch depending, we could be able to full clear desert in one go. It'll depend on whether or not there's any sort of a key on top of the torch. Well, big key specifically. But Agana's Cave would also be something that we can check when we're going to be in the area. And good routing by dataworld to throw the Bombos tablet into the mix in one go as well.
Yeah, there's actually quite a few items over here, depending on if Desert Palace is the small keys on the torch and, you know, can't find the big key anywhere else or anything like that. So yeah, coming over here right now makes a lot of sense. And that book is totally in logic, so.
That's true. Ever since finding that lantern deep in Swamp Palace, that book is in logic.
Yep.
What a way to justify that. Well, let's see. Bombo's tablet has a heart piece. You know, 30 minutes ago, that might have been a little bit more welcome when we only had 6 hearts, but now that we're riding at 9 and 10, I think we're okay enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with you there. It's the old man got today. He's like the other old man hiding stuff in his walls. It's gonna be something good. Eh. Alright, well, there's still potentially 3 items that we can get here. So, on our Desert Ledge, we have Big 20.
That's it. Yeah, this is an interesting way to have this unfold. What normally isn't a great location to go and check, thanks to having access to Bombo's tablet, turned into a fairly dense location that has so far just not paid off.
It really hasn't. It's going to be kind of sad if this was just a wild goose chase. And I have hope. Well, that's a good one. It does tell us that the desert is in fact boots locked, but that myth opens up our dark Death Mountain, which Data World seems to be interested in getting out of the way right now. Also opens up our Ice Palace. So depending where this bow is, that's a Eastern Palace double dip potentially required.
That could be if it's in any of these mid-locked locations, then yes. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I wonder where Jenja will opt to go first. They are heading that way, but they might be checking the Pyramid and Catfish before committing into Eastern Pod.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, they'd be fine too. It's another couple of locations that we haven't had the pleasure of seeing yet.
The pleasure, yes. Could also opt to, while he's up there, hookshot across and check Graveyard Ledge. We'll see.
Meanwhile, we're going to take a look on Data World side at what is in Hookshot Cave. We'll be able to check our Turtle Rock Medallion as well. Just bombs on the pyramid, so nothing quite great. Another bottle. Piece of heart. And another piece of heart. Okay, so that puts us up to 12 now.
Yeah. And if Turtle Rock is Vombos or Ether, we can just go ahead and knock that out of the park.
I would think that's absolutely the best thing to do if that's a possibility right now. It is. So, seems we're going to do just that.
Hard to argue. Turtle Rock is also a very dense dungeon. 5 items, and then there's one at the Mimic Cave, so if you're up here and you can do this, there's almost no reason not to.
Yeah, absolutely. Having Fire and Ice Rat specifically, we can beat the dungeon too, get our second crystal. I know you were hoping for that Ice Palace blade, but it's gonna have to wait just a little bit longer, I'm afraid.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I try to put it off as much as I can when I'm actually racing. So.
Fair enough then. But yeah, I mean, either one were viable options at this point.
Yeah, coming up to Turtle Rock, just seeing what it is and if you can complete it, because you still have the potential to go Mode Ice Palace, which is quite a big time difference than getting all the items out of there, so very understandable.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, that's where Turtle Rock, I guess, would have been... Well, if you consider that, anyway, then Turtle Rock does make a little bit more sense, because go mode or not, you're still clearing the vast majority of this dungeon every time. The exception might be you don't have to do everything on Laser Bridge, but you're still seeing pretty much all of it.
Yeah, the vanilla big key location is also a location you potentially skip if you find the big key before it, but sometimes that doesn't happen. It's hard to say.
Jenja entering Eastern Palace now, mere minutes away from finding his book, which hopefully takes him straight over to the Desert Palace area as well. Would not like to see an Ether tablet check just yet. We can put that off until way later, hopefully.
Yeah, I think Jenja will be more tempted to go to the Desert Palace area just because it's so dense right now, so... And this dungeon is a place where having this powder comes into play very often.
Yeah.
This room right here.
All about this room. Chain chomps are not always... I mean, they cooperated pretty well in this case. But even having patience in that room can make it difficult, because they can just lunge at you and totally cut off your angle at anything. They can eat some Mario blocks whole for breakfast.
Yeah, they get on top of that, that thing's gone. They can even body block your detonated addition blocks to block the switch. which might make you get hit.
Also true. Yeah, in case of any sort of accidental damage, this room specifically, 4 anti-fairies in it, so that's enough to fill more than even a full 20 hearts.
Yeah, you could probably
should you
fill
require it.
a link and a half there, I would say.
A link and a half, nice. Hey, I see that you're really looking at things with the link half full.
Try. Try to look on the positive side.
Well, let's see. I mean, what are we really missing at this point? Boots, bow, and flute for absolute certain. Possibly Quake. Because we can't see the Misery Mire medallion requirement until we even... Oh, nice. Bouncing around with that pokey. Took a little bit of damage. Yeah, it could be a little bit of time before we see which medallion we need to get into Misery Mire.
Yeah, we definitely need that flute if we can figure that out. There's a good chance that we have it right now. It's because we have 2 medallions, 2 out of 3.
Mm-hmm.
That good old 66.6 repeating percent. But there's always that uncertainty. You don't want to assume you have the medallion and then find out, oh, I don't have the medallion. Well, there's a bunch of stuff I didn't check, assuming I had it.
This is true. I mean, fortunately for us at this point, there's not a whole lot that hasn't been checked. It's been pretty limited in what's actually open. I mean,
yeah. Very timely Mirror Shield find, by the way.
I would say so. Having Can of Burn is nice, but that can even drain through your magic on Laser Bridge, so Mirror Shield is definitely nice. Boots are even better.
Oh boy.
So boots were... Oh my. So, Eastern Palace for the Book of Medora. To get into Desert Palace for the Titan's Mitts. To grant final access for Turtle Rock to get the boots and go back to Desert at some point.
Yeah, so that the Desert Double Dip was absolutely required at this point.
The Desert and an Eastern Double Dip, perhaps. We still... I mean, it seems likely at this point the bow's going to be locked somewhere behind the book as well.
Yeah, I think that's pretty likely at this point. With so many IM locations opening up to us just with those finds behind it, very likely bow is lurking somewhere within it.
Well, that's Randomizer, I guess.
If only we could just check the index of the Book of Medora and figure out exactly where it was. Rando would be so simple.
There's the flute, also on Laser Bridge. First item on Laser Bridge. A map, okay. It's about lunchtime, I guess, right? Bombs. And then there's going to be another item here. More bombs. The Trinex is also going to have an item. But wow, flute and boots. We are no longer bootless or fluteless.
We are no longer bootless or fluteless. We got all the mobility we could ever hope for the rest of the time here. What a combo of items to find.
Absolutely. I mean, with that, I would think that as soon as we're done here, we're going to immediately mirror and flute to 6. That way we can at least check out Misery Mire, and if nothing else, we can finish Desert Palace.
I think you're absolutely right on that.
Jenya having an idea and then nope, changing the idea on the fly. Possibly thinking, you know what, there's just so much more value up on Death Mountain now that I have Titan's Mitts. I'm gonna go there.
Yeah, very understandable. I know Jenya is not as reserved about the Ice Palace split, but realizing, you know, maybe we can put this off and save some time that way.
Mm-hmm. And you never know, at this point, now that we're past the hour mark, Randomizer in a lot of ways is a bit of a mental game too. It's very easy to sort of think, okay, you know, if I'm not finding anything, if it's a linear bottleneck seed, then my opponent's probably doing all these same things that I am, and if I'm not getting anywhere, then they might be 2 steps ahead of me. Who knows? having that pedestal pull not pay off, you never know. You always hope that it's not getting to anybody on the mental game, because you want them to just stay calm and keep playing through as normal. But it's very, very easy at this point to feel behind for anybody.
Oh yeah, it's very easy to feel behind, even if you are like a mile ahead. You do one thing that wasn't required, and you're thinking, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose this race. I've already lost this race. I can't believe it." It just happened to not be true. Jen, you're probably feeling that pressure right now just because of clearing out those pendant dungeons and pulling the pedestal, not really getting a lot of value for it. I wonder, because the book was so accessible, maybe thinking that maybe my opponent did the early Eastern play and found that way before me, and then got Titans way before me.
Yeah, you never know, because, I mean, going through Eastern without the lamp isn't a terribly difficult thing for those first couple of dark rooms. So, I mean, similar to Jenja getting the Ice Rod as early as he did, getting the Book of Medora could have been obtained just as easily. So yeah, you just really don't know.
That's probably the scariest thing he could be imagining right now.
No, you know what the scariest thing is? We have not seen a Lumberjack check at all until right now, have we?
Oh, no we haven't. To hear, we did just get the boots, so...
Is it? No, it's 20 rupees. Okay.
Dodged bullet.
If that could have been the bow.
Oh my gosh. I wonder... Data World's probably not thinking about the pedestal right now. They're just gonna activate their flute and head to Mire, I would think, but they're in the area if they want to check the pedestal. We know it's nothing, but Data World might be worried.
Yeah, I mean, we could at least see a check after activating the flute and then just flute away from that pedestal area. But yeah, I think at this point the sign of progression just takes us pretty far away from ever going back into Thieves Town right this moment.
Yeah, I would say so.
And yep, we're just gonna flute dash on out of there and go straight to 6. I'm gonna go with Bombos.
Bombos, I'm gonna go with the good old vanilla ether medallion.
I should make that a flavor of ice cream, vanilla lightning. I'm not sure what they would do.
God,
Oh,
it's Quake!
Yikes. Okay, where's that gonna be? We know it's not the pedestal. It can't be Pyramid Fairy. Probably right here. Or not.
Right there. Yeah, we've at least narrowed it down. It's not the worst case scenario. It can't be. We've seen everything there. The Data World doesn't actually know what the pedestal is.
Not just yet, nope. Jenja down to 2 hearts. Still on green mail. Did not sequence break through the Palace of Darkness the way Data World did to get the blue mail. And we know red mail is on Trinex, so this could be a fairly difficult run through the dungeon.
Have those rollers do 4 hearts of damage if you're in green mail.
And the Pokies do, and the Chain Chomps do. Almost everything in this dungeon does.
Yeah, the eye lasers too. It's really something you notice when you come in here with green mail, rather than any other time. Just how easy it is to die here.
Nice patience, though, in the Chain Chomp room, waiting for them to just hop a little bit out of the way.
Yeah, and then here you have plenty of anti-fairies to heal you up. So.
Yep. Definitely. So let's see now. Did Data World get anything from the first half of Skull, or not Skull, Desert Palace aside from the big key?
I don't think so. So I assume he opted to come here to Lambo before checking the right side, just on the small chance that he doesn't have to do that. It's a small time save, so...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if Landmo has the second item, then that negates the need to go back into the main portion of the dungeon. Spin attack, fire rod, more fire rods. Nicely done. Well calculated, too, to see that we are now out of magic. And there's a heart container, so item number 2 obtained. Quick swap to the Mire, and... well, we gotta check Checkerboard Cave first. And then, hit Ice Palace, I believe.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Data World's just really good against bug enemies, or enemies who kind of look like bugs, I guess. Showing some real prowess in that area.
Opening up the can of Raid in the form of a fire rod.
That's nature's raid right there. Good old Mother Earth put it on the Earth for us to burn things with. Why not bugs?
Alright, so just the new 10 bomb item that Uncle could give you at some point in the Checkerboard Cave, and we're gonna head straight to Ice Palace before even considering this shovel.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen the mushroom yet either.
Oh no, we haven't. Have we seen Catfish either, or did we just check Pyramid?
I don't think we saw catfish.
So those couple of things, Graveyard Ledge, Ether Tablet, there's still about the same number of one-off locations left that could have the remaining progress we're looking for.
Not hard to blame Data World for coming here, just because this is going to be required, and if, depending on the key layout of this dungeon, it can be very quick to still check all the item locations.
Oh, for sure. Like, if we get a small key here, then that is golden. And we don't, but that's still a really good spot to find the big key.
Yeah, it's not bad. It is also golden, technically. Some shade of yellow.
I see what you did there. It is, you're right. Yeah, I mean, definitely the right idea. Going for a crystal. At the very least, you get the progression out of that.
Yeah. It's worrying if Quake and or Bow are in here. Just because it's going to mean Jenny is not going to have a whole lot of opportunity to catch up. Just a little bit behind right now, unfortunately. It's one of the scary things about a seed where all the progression is in dungeons, required dungeons even. You're very tempted to do those first, and if your opponent gets some time on you, it's hard to make that up.
It is, but gotta say, Jenja is doing a really good job to keep the separation about even, I would say. And this next decision could be absolutely huge, whether it be to go to Desert or Ice Palace on his own. But I suspect we'll see a flute activation first either way.
Yeah, he's not out of it by any means, but
Oh no. Nice, we get to see some Trinex backdoor strats. Almost got 4 full hits there, but not bad. That's a very, very tricky strategy. There's not a lot of room between the top of Trinex and the northern wall.
you got to be very precise when you squeeze in there.
Nicely done. Ice Head is down as well.
Tempered Source is really nice for this final phase. Setting up the quick kills.
And that's that. Jenja's about to get Blue Mail. Certainly a nice addition. Not finding anything noteworthy in the Ice Palace yet either. We have a heart container. And that might have actually been the first non-dungeon item that we had actually located.
What do we got in here? Another small key.
Small key.
Oh man. It's always annoying when those fireballs hit you as you're falling.
On the way down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the artifacts of the original Japanese 1.0 version of A Link to the Past, which the randomizer is based off of.
If we get the good things and the bad things from that version, so
Yep, the good things like spin speed, item dashing.
Just gotta live with taking the bullets as we fall.
I think the good outweighs the bad in this case.
I would agree. Virginia activating his flute. Probably gonna be hitting the Mire right away, I would think. Even doing the little dash hops there. State World did.
Nice bomb jump by dataworld to get back across. Not a whole lot of room to stand on that side, so it could be a little bit tricky if you're just off place by a couple of pixels.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, don't mess up this other one. Okay.
Compass. So, pretty sure that means that Cold Stairs should have it. Unless we didn't see the iced tea room in that, did we?
Did we?
Or maybe we got all 3 items. I'm not actually sure. I think that they're probably pretty calculated on it though.
Yeah, I think Data World went right there actually. Like that was the first thing they did, but you don't really see that too often, so it's probably easy to miss. Cold Stare. It should be not too difficult. We got Red Mail, we got Bombos, Fire Rod, Tempered Sword. Pretty good set of items.
Iced tea was bombs. Okay, thank you, chat. Always there for me.
Well, don't blink. If you blink, you miss some.
Heart piece as item number 3. That means that we need to go and hit one of those random locations.
Yeah. Mitz also opened up the blacksmith chain, which could
Also
be
true.
worth considering.
And that probably combines for the most dense location remaining, so I assume that we're going to see that pretty early on.
Yeah, I would think so. I don't think Data World checked the Magic Bat too, so it's probably even more tempting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. You can just do that all in one swift go.
Is Data World going to be checking the pedestal first? I think.
I think so. That's fair. At this point, you're definitely wondering about it. And you know what? If Data World's going to check the blacksmith sequence, I wouldn't be too surprised to see him dip back into Thieves Town knowing that there's still another 2 items on the loose.
It's very true.
So at this point, any location is a good location to check.
There's not a lot left.
I don't believe that we ever saw what was on top of Bumper Cave either, but we don't have the cape either way.
Yeah, it's another one of those locations that a lot of runners will just leave alone until they actually find the cape. That one I'm a little less encouraging on skipping, just because it's hard to get back there, depending on the items you get. With boots, you're always going to be doing bonk rocks anyway. You just go straight up to the lumberjack ledge and check that right away, but cape's a little harder.
I would agree with that. It's all fair.
I mean, like we said earlier, it's about how you prefer to play. There's really no wrong way to do random.
Yeah, everyone's got their system. Everyone's been playing long enough, especially these two, to have it developed, and they know what they're looking for. I think really the big thing is to just make sure that you're not forgetting any location. I've seen it happen where you find items perhaps out of the sequence that you're used to, so you wind up getting locations accessible to you earlier than what's normally in your routing and in your play. And I've seen that throw some players off, but we're going to hope that that wasn't the case and isn't going to be the case as we skip on the best boomerang ever.
Well, Data World is not interested in boomerangs apparently. Already got the red one for the menu space. Sad days.
Well, let's see, blacksmiths are 20 rupees. I mean, I guess that's not too bad. That comes out as a net gain. You have to spend 10 to get 20.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's illegal. I don't think they're going to be taken too kindly to these 2 dwarves smith and money. But I mean, I'm not a Hyrule guard or anything, so I keep my mouth shut.
I can't see the Hyrule guards really caring about that, just based on my observations of them.
Yeah, they're very, very, very strange, I would say. I'm not sure what their priorities would be. Napping in the grass.
I think their only real objective is get the guy that's trying to do the thing.
Get the creep, as they like to call you.
Purple chest. We've seen purple chest be absolutely huge at times.
Yeah, we're right there.
I know.
Well,
just lunch money today. Only a handful of locations left. Catfish. Literally only a handful. Catfish, digging spot, graveyard ledge. Might it be just those? No, ether tablet. Might it be just those 4?
I think mushroom still in play?
Mushroom. Okay, so 5.
Ooh.
There's Quake. Okay, so there's our Misery Mire access. And I was just about to ask, what's going through your mind as you're clearing these last couple of locations, not finding what you need?
Nothing good. Nothing good. That's the feel bads moment right there, when you're narrowing down all your item locations and nothing's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you've already sort of dipped in Thieves Town and left without getting all the items, you would be worried that maybe my progression is actually in Thieves Town. Things like that.
Right. Well, at this point, from Dataworld's perspective, the only thing that could be in Thieves Town is the bow, which we know is not the case. Misery Mire being one of the remaining crystal dungeons, Pyramid Fairy crystal dungeon as well. So there's 2 items here, and if we want to count those 2 from the Pyramid Fairy, that makes a total of 4 that Dataworld is going to have access to.
Yeah, and Pyramid Fairy could absolutely have her bow.
Yep, fully within logic.
Misery Mire, sadly, this is still not a really fun dungeon to have to come into looking for items.
No, this is a fantastic Go mode dungeon.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it doesn't cooperate with Go mode if the big key's in the worst spot, but sometimes it's the God Mire with the big key right here in this first chest. Oh.
There's the bow, so I mean, that's kind of a God Mire in another sense, right?
I'll take it, I'd take it, yeah.
We don't have to spend any extra time looking for that item. We can get our big key and go. So nice. We have our first runner in Go mode at this point, 1 hour 22 minutes. Because the bow was for Go mode, though, we still have a couple of dungeons left that still have to be cleared.
Yeah, and that officially confirms that the Eastern Double Dip is required.
Yeah, that comes full circle now. Eastern Palace for Book, to Desert for Titan's Mitts, to Turtle Rock for Flute, and Boots, to wind up getting the shovel from the Mire Shed, to dig up the Quake Medallion to get the bow. That is the sequence that this seed wanted us to take in this case. There's our big key, so nice. We don't have to deal with the torch room or dipping back around to all corners of this silly dungeon. We just move right on.
That's exactly what I want to see. Is gonna finish this dungeon and go, and I got Eastern Pod back to back. Be on our way to Ganon's Tower. Well, Dataworld does have 55 arrows. They did not get the silver arrows in Tower of Hera, so Beatrice won't be, I guess, as easy as it could be, but still probably going to be pretty easy.
This is true. I mean, not having silver arrows makes Beatrice a real test of marksmanship. Unless, of course, we just go with the double spin strategies of the Tempered Sword, but we're a little bit low on health. Even with Red Mail, we could still take some pretty sizable damage when trying that.
Are we going to see this glitch? Or...
He's certainly given it a good old college try.
Oh boy, we're going to see
I think
it.
you got it, actually. No. You know, I'll admit that since the advent of that glitch, that's one that I have not tried myself too often.
Yeah, I haven't tried it at all, really. Like, it's cool, makes people go say, what just happened there? But... So there is one more anti-fairy right for Vitreous that they'd will be able to use to heal up a bit if they choose to.
And choose to, they will. And with that extra health makes the double sword spin strat pretty safe.
Yeah, that's very, very fast, as you said. Ooh.
Vitreous was not coming out for you to damage me yet.
No, he gave it his best shot.
And it was still a really great fight. Or did you mean Vitreous gave it his best shot?
I meant Vitreous gave it his best shot.
Rip Vitreous.
Rest in peace, my
Tried
dude.
your best. Well, by that logic, let's see how Cold Stare does. I don't think it's gonna go too well.
Yeah, my money's on Jenja here.
Now, is that money from the blacksmith that you're putting on Jenja?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
I mean, it's double or nothing, right? So, technically doubling my money.
There we go. Nice Cold Stare fight by Jenja. Unfortunately, not finding anything in Ice Palace. Gonna need to go and use that shovel as soon as possible in order to find this next progression. Dataworld making quick work of this overworld sequence, getting back to the Palace of Darkness. No Kiki to deal with this time around. Always nice. I mean, we could pay for probably another 11 or 12 Kikis.
Yeah, you got another 13 Dark Palaces to open up for me? And, ooh, we still need a small key, though. Hopefully Dataworld realizes this.
He's just in full go mode at this point. Gonna have to dip on back, but you know what? That happens. It's not at the end of the world. I mean, based on what we're seeing, I don't think it's gonna affect anything. But you know, you just get so excited about wanting that go mode, and it does happen. So.
Yeah, it does happen. Mistakes do happen. You're thinking about a lot of things during these races. It's very easy to go into autopilot. Very easy to miss this sort of thing.
You know, we get in a Ether tablet check. I don't know if Jenja checked Spike Cave yet either, so we might be seeing both of those at once.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes back to back here. Alright, Dataworld realizing they forgot a key.
Yep.
Oopsie doosey.
Well, we see just a full heart container on the Ether tablet. I'll admit it was a curiosity. Ooh, that was a thanks game moment.
Yeah.
And you're getting jumped down the wall just to get into the wall.
You gotta be careful when you jump down these ledges.
I mean, this game's broken enough as it is. I'm sure we can find another 50 ways to break it doing similar things, too.
Oh, yeah. Walls are just some of the most fun things to break in this game.
They're merely suggestions.
They are merely suggestions, yes. That's a very excellent way of putting it. There are times I'll mirror into a wall, and my ankle will be touching it, and I'll get kicked back. There'll be other times I'm halfway in the wall, and I can just walk out of it.
Yeah, I mean, where's the sense in that? I think now we're seeing a King's Tomb check from Jenja. Which, I guess that was another one we didn't even consider. That's been on the table for a while now.
I think Data World checked that when they checked Bonk Rocks in the
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
I'd be surprised to see Jenja head up to the Lumberjack as well right after these Bonk Rocks, which I think is just another bomb upgrade.
Now we've got swordless helmet strats here. You can hold the sword out if you wish and not get that sort of knockback. You can also sort of make it a little bit safer, because if you walk up too far, then you wind up poking the sword against the mask instead of yourself and taking damage. But a little bit quicker to actually not use the sword, although not quite as safe. Executed beautifully by Data World. Took down the king of all Helmosaurus very swiftly.
Hardly a king at all, really. It's King Data World now.
It's king of the hill, then yeah, absolutely. And Jenja just getting that unfortunate knowledge that it's only 20 rupees on the Lumberjack ledge. So we've got to keep searching elsewhere.
Coming up here to do the blacksmith stuff. Would have a nice opportunity to check the dig spot as well if they choose to run up there in Mire.
This is true.
Data World doesn't have to worry about finding a small key in this dungeon. It's got everything we need. Jenja taking this graveyard ledge. Just a piece of heart.
You know, this is just one of those things it comes down to the preference of how you want to choose between these last few locations. None of these are bad checks. We know that for Data World, finding the Quake Medallion was in one of those checks of the same fashion. It's just you've got these random overworld locations remaining. How do you pick and choose?
Yeah, it's really tough when it comes down to these single locations. When you have the capability of running with other stuff, it becomes a lot easier just because you can go by density. But if you're just flipping the coins on these single locations, there's really not a whole lot you can do about it. Just gotta hope your choice pays off.
And that's the key point of it. They're single locations. You're not going anywhere that's got not even two items that you can get. So yeah, it's just, how do you choose? But here we have it. Jenja's still playing really, really well. Execution's been absolutely on point through the entirety of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
so definitely nothing against any gameplay. This is just how Randomizer works at times.
Yes, indeed. And that would be our last Crystal Dungeon, DT.
That it would be. So, we have this thing that we do, you're all familiar with it by now, where you can guess the big key between 1 and 22 in our Ganon's tower. So, the way it works is that if you are a Speed Gaming sub on any of the Speed Gaming channels or have contributed 250 bits or more, you are able to guess this, and if you are correct, the first person to guess correctly, you will be put onto some sort of a fun leaderboard. What's your preference, Mally? What do you think it'll be?
Usually I like to say Torch, just because Torch is a fun location, so I'll go with that. How about you?
You know what, I like to change it up from time to time. I think last time I picked 8, but I might be just making that up because I don't remember. So let's go with 15 with a full right side start.
Alright.
See, because that changes up like where 15 is if you go left or right first. It's tricky. Keeps you on your toes.
Alright, we'll see which way Data World's toes takes him very shortly.
the tap dancing boots will just kind of dance around the entire dungeon.
Yep. All Happy Feet plays in the background. We're going left. Oh. Okay.
Well.
Alright.
So how about that?
How about that? It's the dream right there.
So, correct answer being number 1. Gecko376, congratulations. You were just a little bit more optimistic than everybody else, I guess.
Yep.
So here we go then, we'll have our Ganon's Tower climb. The only disadvantage at this point Dataworld has is not having silver arrows, and he'll know it as soon as he sees that Ganon message. Did you find them in the Tower of Hera? Well, no, unfortunately.
Yep, we did not sit through the tower room for those. If Dataworld knew they were silver arrows, I'm sure he would have, but sadly we cannot figure that out without actually going and checking it. Alright, well Jenja did get their Quake, I believe. So they'll be hitting the Misery Mire very shortly. Getting that bow.
Yep. At that point, makes perfect sense to just continue on the sequence that you're looking for, though. I mean, if that purple chest had the bow, then that would have absolutely been a really, really solid play.
I mean, you already got it. You don't have to come back and get it on the off chance that it is bow, right?
So far, the Gauntlet's behaving decently. This can be one of the more RNG-heavy areas of any of the runs.
Yeah.
That blue Zazak room was pretty great. The red ones are lining up nicely. Here we go. On to the last room of the Gauntlet already. Taking a little bit of damage, but all in all, very, very solid Gauntlet from Dataworld.
Really well done. Dataworld's put up some pretty impressive execution so far. And it's always nice to see the GT rooms cooperate. Because they can go horribly wrong sometimes.
They definitely can be. But yeah, I mean, all in all from both runners, execution has been very, very, very good. I mean, there's a reason that they've made it to this point in the tournament, top 64.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Jenja definitely showing some good execution as well. Mothfight, that patience was really just very impressive.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's not always about doing everything fast, but it's about knowing how everything works and being able to execute it for any number of situations.
Yes, indeed. We are a little low on magic, but I think we'll be able to get through the short term with no issue.
Shouldn't be any problem at all, especially using the lamp. We might need to pick up the full magic in this laser room.
Yeah. I like to do that anyway, and just let the torches run out so I don't ever risk the nasty soft lock that can happen here.
No,
Dataworld's not concerned.
You don't like doing that? It's not fun for you?
I like in the good old despawn.
I can't blame you.
I like to keep my against tower trips limited to one if at all possible.
Yes. Not gonna dispute that, even in the slightest. But here we go, top of the tower, very, very quick and efficient climb, picking up a single arrow at the end.
Not the arrow that Dataworld was hoping to see, unfortunately, but...
He's not too concerned about it, though. There were a couple of other chests on the upstairs that he didn't check. I can't imagine anyone having trouble with Silverless Ganon at this point, but I have been wrong plenty of times in the past. And we'll see just a map in the Muldoon 2 chest as we move on and go to the pinball room, which is kind of a room where you have to do quickly, or else you are just... you get thrown around a lot.
Yeah, it's very easy for this room in particular to go really, really bad. Sometimes you get bumpered into the spikes and trapped into the bumper, and then all the mini yellow storms come and give you big hugs.
I mean, they're so energetic and they're cute creatures. They really are. But we don't have time to stay and play with them. Here we go. Nice double there. I think it was a double on the first cycle. Oof, unfortunately taking a hit from that blue ball, not able to reflect any of the proper energy to Aghanim. There we go, another double to finish that off.
Oh, nice 2-2-0-2.
It's like code for something. It's like every single Aga 2 fight is just secretly code.
We put him all the patterns from the entire tournament together. I guess we get a message from VTorp or something.
No, I think what happens is we turn it into Morse code and it just winds up being gibberish most of the time.
Hmm.
We might get lucky and have like 1 3 or 4 letter word somewhere in there, but that's it.
You've heard people talk about a million monkeys, million typewriters. Well, that's the new modern version of that. This is Ganon fight.
You know, I guess this is majestic enough to be compared to Shakespeare. That's a fine reference. So yeah, very, very quick phase 1 and 2, getting proper double spins. Moving on to phase 3, Ganon does not want to sit still.
It's middle of the afternoon, he's just had lunch, he's got all this energy.
I'll have whatever he's having then if it means I can teleport everywhere.
Well, I guess it's constricted to this, like, room.
That's fine, I will go to any room in the world if it means I can teleport just once.
Why not? Hopefully you don't have this elf boy trying to kill you.
Yeah, I can deal without that.
Getting a torch glitch, that's very important when you're doing silverless, especially when you don't have half magic or any magic restoring items.
Ooh, unfortunately shooting that fire out a little bit too early, not able to relight the torch on time. So using a little bit more magic than anticipated, but still recovering very nicely, getting these triple hits in per cycle.
Yeah,
really, really well done.
Yes, indeed. That's the main appeal of the fire on this fight. It's just that if you time it right, you can get these triple hits, which with the lantern you really can't do unless Ganon cooperates very well.
Mm-hmm. And my understanding, the way that it works is that as Ganon's getting into position, if that torch relights, he takes a couple extra seconds, or like a second or whatever, to teleport away again instead of it being instant. So during that time, you can get 3 hits per cycle. And there we go, down goes Ganon. Data World going to emerge as the victor of Game 1 in this best of 3 series.
Took it right down to the wire with that magic.
It did, yeah. Might have had 1 or 2 more lantern uses. Data World finishing with an official time of 1 hour, 42 minutes, 34 seconds. I mean, what can really be said? Execution was on point from both runners the entirety of this race. Routing just took them in slightly different directions and is the only reason, I think, that any sort of a lead ever emerged.
Yeah, I think Jenja also committed to some of these pendant dungeons that Data World did not, and that helped a lot just because a lot of the progression ended up being right in the way.
This is true. I mean, when the very first dungeon that you go through has the ice rod and silver arrows, it kind of might lead you to think that other pendant dungeons might have similar value. So certainly can't fault Jenja for determining to stick through the remaining pendant dungeons in their entirety.
Oh yeah, absolutely not. If there were required items back there, Jenja would be the winner of this race, and Data World wouldn't be.
Yep,
probably.
Well, yeah, I mean, who knows? Anything could have happened. But we're gonna see if we can get Data World in here now. Join us and hang out for a few chat and whatnot. Hello there, Data World.
Hey, GG.
GG, congratulations on the win in Game 1. Very, very masterful display of execution, knowledge of game mechanics, and great routing overall. How are you feeling right now?
I was pretty happy with that. Yeah, it was a fun seed. A lot of forced double dips.
This is true.
Forced double dip Eastern, I believe, and Mire area as well. So.
And desert.
Oh yeah, desert too.
Lots of double dips. It was a really, really interesting sequence once you found that book to actually get to the bow and come full circle back to Eastern Palace.
Yeah, once I found the book, I was like, well, if my progression is on Catfish or Graveyard Ledge or anywhere else, I'm basically losing the game, but I have to go for it, so... And luckily it paid off.
That's fair enough.
How were you feeling during the run? When you found, say, Quake, or well, I guess mostly Quake, did you feel behind at all, or did you feel your opponent probably did the same things as you anyway, and you're just going through the motions, or how were you?
I felt like on average I would be behind. That's why I also went Dark Magician in GT.
Oh, that was Dark Magician?
I guess it would have been if you had the chance for it.
Yeah. No, my routing didn't turn out terribly well, and I made a couple of mistakes in board with the key logic, with the forgetting a key, Mire glitch, that kind of thing. So I wasn't feeling too good, but I think Jenja put off the shovel even longer than I did. So.
Yeah, I mean, of all the places then to eventually find Quake, we had, I mean, just so many places scattered around Hyrule. Catfish was one of them, checking Graveyard Ledge or the shovel itself. It's really just a matter of pick and choose between any of these several single item locations, and yeah, just you were fortunate to find it very, very quickly within that series of checks.
Well, I figured the progression must be mids locked, so that's why I didn't go for Thieves Town or Catfish or Graveyard Ledge, or but it happened to be in one of the last mids locked locations, which was kind of unfortunate. So.
That makes sense. It seems that the mids locked just about all of the remaining progression in this seed then. I mean, there was a very good amount that was found early on, within the first 40 minutes. And from the majority of the seed, we were really only looking for boots, possibly a medallion, flute, and the bow. So, I mean, very generous up front. And then, yeah, I'm not going to say that it was trolly necessarily, but it kept you guessing for sure.
Yeah, especially once I found out Quake was required for Mire, which doubled my Go mode items. So.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, were you just thinking that, you know, let me go here anyway, and hopefully it's Bombos or Ether?
Yeah, I mean, you have to go for that. I think I could also clean up... Oh no, that was the first... No, the second one, yeah. I could also clean up Desert along the way, which still had an item, so...
Yes, very true. Sound reasoning behind the logic as well. Now, when you choose how you want to go through this game, figuring out what's most efficient isn't always the easiest, and that's the nature of Randomizer, that it's always going to be something a little bit different. So you got to play the cards that the seed deals you, and you did quite well.
Thank you.
When you heard where the silver arrows were you annoyed at all? Maybe a little bit?
No, I think Hera basement takes around 50 seconds to check, so that's about even. So I was like pretty whelmed with that, not overwhelmed, not underwhelmed, just whelmed.
Just whelmed. That's all right. I'll take it.
Yeah, I guess when you put it that way, I've never actually timed the tile room, but I guess it sort of balances it out then, and doesn't really become any sort of consequence to have not checked it.
No, I feel like Hera Basement is a good place to skip if you feel like you want to gamble a little. Or Jenja is of course a player of quite the caliber, so I felt like I had to gamble at least a little bit. So I skipped the Bag of Thieves and Hera Basement, and it turned out well.
Fair enough. Yeah, Tower of Hera was actually Jenja's first dungeon. Finding the ice rod and then going to the basement after Maldom to get the silver arrows. So
Wow.
very,
Yeah.
very powerful things to find early on, as early as that was, maybe the 20-25 minute mark or so.
Yeah, I think sequence breaking Death Mountain like that is. I assume he sequence broke it because the
Yes.
lamp was quite late. It's quite interesting because half the time you're sequence breaking the lamp and you look like a genius, and the other half of the time you're sequence breaking around the flute, and it's coming back to bite you. So I tend to be a little careful with that.
Yeah, I think it can be okay, even if you sort of sequence break out of that, as long as you keep in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can narrow it down later if it comes to that.
Yeah, there's no way you can avoid Death Mountain at all, so sequence breaking it is usually no big deal. Especially with, I think we had the whole light Death Mountain unlocked apart from Ether Tablet. So it's pretty easy to come back and clean up the Dark World once you get missed.
Yeah, that's true enough. Although Jenja did not actually have Hookshot first time up, decided to go there before even checking Sahasrara and getting the hammer.
Oh right, Hookshot was in... where was it? It unlocked Swamp, so it was in Skull Woods, I think?
Thieves Town.
Thieves Town.
It was
the
second chest of Thieves Town.
Oh yeah, that also helped with... I figured since Hookshot unlocked the back part of Swamp, I could skip the rest of Thieves Town, so...
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that might have been just a first forecheck and bail kind of a thing. Because you see that too from time to time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jenja did the back half of Thieves Town, and they also did pull the pedestal. So I think the lead that you built up was partially based on that. Like, it made a lot of sense from James' perspective to consider that, because by the time they went to Thieves Town, they had done Skullwoods and Tower of Hera, and you're one off at that point, you know? So I definitely understood why he opted to do that, but it did end up putting him behind.
Yeah, if you start with Tower of Hera, I feel like you just can't avoid putting the pedestal, since there are 3 items in the back then of Thieves Town.
Mm-hmm. Well, at this point we have Jenja into Ganon's Tower, and progressing through the right side, we're down in this compass room, checking these 4 chests. Gonna have to dip into this hallway, grab the small key. Having a little bit of a pit mishap. And we'll see a mirror out of this and head onto the left side, where we know that we're gonna find the big key. Right on the torch.
Very friendly GTA. So Jenny has blue mail, so I guess they skipped the big chest and pod. I guess they were good at that point.
Yep, that would have been the case, because red mail was on Trinex, so the game forced you to get at least 1 mail upgrade.
Let's see how Genius Execution holds up in GT. Let's see if he gets as good RNG as dataworld did.
Nice gauntlet so far. First 2 rooms went down pretty quickly.
Jenja's actually kind of low on arrows. I wonder how that happened. Because dataworld had quite a lot.
This is true. I guess when you have silvers, you're a little bit more inclined to use a bunch of them.
He probably used a bunch on Vitreous, I would think.
But there's a couple of pots up the tower that do have arrows. I assume that Jenja knows where they're located.
I mean, you only really need 4, so...
This is true.
If he uses the silvers on these Lamo, then as long as he doesn't miss, he's got all the arrows he needs for the rest of the game.
And there we go, we're down to our remaining 4 silver arrows.
Yeah, just don't miss. It's that easy. Really good execution thus far. Should have enough magic to get through here.
Yes, definitely.
Even if he is a little bit short, there's a small pot down here you grab before you try and light these things.
Yep, getting through this room is a little bit more forgiving than going upstairs without picking up this magic, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Also not getting a despawn, which is obviously good.
Yeah.
And just the 4 fire red shots here. We have 1 small key. We're gonna need 1 more, so... Uh-oh. There's a single arrow in that next chest, so we're gonna have to dip back and take out one of the mini helmets.
Yeah, not a huge deal, thankfully.
I mean, I don't think there's a technology in place yet to bend that single arrow into a key.
That would be quite the trick.
I mean, in the real world, that would be really, really difficult, considering the infinite number of combinations that you could put onto an actual key. But in this game, they all look the same. They all work.
Yeah, it's very true. Any small key will work with any locked door in the dungeon. Just one of those things. Sadly, you can only use keys once in this game. I guess that's why people don't lock their doors and Link can just come in and, you know, loot the place.
That doesn't seem logical of the Hyrulean citizens, does it?
No. But if the keys disappear...
You can't really argue with tradition, though, I guess.
I guess not.
It's a cultural thing.
Well, that single arrow we got puts us up to 5, so we can afford to miss on Ganon once.
This is true. Alright, so let's see how Aga 2 goes. We're getting 1 hit on the first cycle.
That's maybe 2.
There's another 2 to finish that off. Nice. Really like that bonking animation too from the sprite. I'm sorry, I don't know its actual name, but I know that it's from Secret of Mana, and that is a fantastic game in its own right as well.
It certainly is. And it's always nice to bonk as the duck comes in to pick you up.
You know, maybe that's why Ganon had so much energy in those Phase 3 warps, because he started his day eating delicious, nutritious cereal for breakfast, or whatever it is that he ate for his incredible insides.
Yeah, maybe. I always assume it's Weetabix, because in one of the Uncle quotes, he's talking about Weetabix.
Going to the store, can't buy any at the store because Ganon bought it all.
Exactly.
I actually have a box of Weetabix in my kitchen. Found it at this international superstore in Ohio called Jungle Gyms. It was pretty cool.
Nice. Did your uncle buy this for you, or did you pay for that?
No, I took care of it. I couldn't pass it up, really.
Yeah, understandable. Right, we're on phase 3 here. One more hit, and we'll get into the final phase of Ganon. Virginia here.
I didn't actually count how many warps he did in phase 3, but suffice to say it was many.
Too many.
We got one hit there. Let's see if we can get Torch Glitch. Not as big of a deal with Silver Arrows, and it can even be preferable to not get it. Went for a triple, wasn't quite able to get it. The reason it's preferable, or can be, is because you can sort of manipulate where Ganon's going to respawn and get a quick hit for a double, based on when you relight the torches.
Yeah, you can actually get a triple that way, I think, too, if he's in a good enough spot. But that'll do what it can.
So then, we have Jenja finishing. GG's, major GG's. Unfortunately, routing wasn't quite in favor this time, but still fantastic execution throughout. Absolutely great gameplay, really, really fun to watch. So GG's to Jenja as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, not sure if Jenja will be joining us now. We'll figure that here soon.
Well, I think we just figured that out.
Oh.
Hello there, Jenja. GG.
Hey, man. GG.
So, this seed kind of sent you all over the place. I mean, we've had our share of fun talking about it a couple of times now, but starting with the book in Eastern Palace and having it go all the way full circle between Titan's Mitts, Boots, and Flute, then being required to wind up getting various other things taken care of, such as Desert Palace, getting the shovel to get the Quake Medallion, to get the bow in in Misery Mire, to get back to Eastern where it all started with the book. So, in that series of events, I mean, what was going through your mind?
I'm going to lose. That was my mind. I mean, I don't know. At that point, I already know that I just cleared the entire map, like every single chest. Like Quake was, I think I had Quake and I had the purple chest in my bag. That was the last 2 chests that I could have possibly gotten. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I had 2 very, very stupid deaths at the start, which doesn't help either, but I don't know. I mean, it's like that's like the bait of the century. Like, you get Dark World access, you can technically clear all the 3 pendant dungeons. How does it not have anything?
Right?
Such a shame, such a shame.
And there were a number of really important things that could have been there too. So I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
I was right there with you. I was hoping for it.
I was like, this could perfectly be like the infamous Titan Mitts on the pedestal. But I mean, at some point, you know, when you feel already behind and more behind, I of course start to make decisions that might not seem like the best choice, just because I feel like I have to catch up some time, which I obviously had to do. But yeah, it was just a very, very unfortunate seed overall. Just a couple items that were just always in the last spots for me. And,
fair enough. And I mean, from our perspective, watching it and whatnot, when you were looking for the Quake Medallion, for instance, there were any number of other one-off locations that we hadn't seen or we hadn't known about, that you did go and check before finding Quake. And I say this to every runner that I see this happen to. I don't know if you are or not, but don't beat yourself up over it, because that's just how do you choose when you've got so many locations in opposite corners of the world? How do you choose which ones to go to first? And
oh yeah, absolutely.
Unfortunately, it wasn't.
Yeah, as I said, I would judge that decision based on how I feel I am standing right now. Of course, that's just very, very, subjective. Mm-hmm. But if I feel very, very, very far behind, I'm going to check the locations that I assume my opponent would not check immediately, like Catfish,
Fair.
But yeah, it's of course at that point you can only lose, right? Because you're just like, okay, it could be anywhere. Where do I go now? It's like, yeah, just pick your poison. This case was a pretty bad poison, but that's how Rando goes. So
that it is, like it or not, true enough. Rando can be exactly like that, and will be again in the future to many others. But Your execution was fantastic throughout the entirety of this. Really enjoyed having a chance to watch you play.
I was okay. It's like the two, despite of the 2 deaths, I think I was pretty happy overall. But of course, it can be quite tough if you already have like a little bit of a situation like that where you just die and then you just like, yeah, still it's possible to avoid, but it's okay.
All understandable, but I mean, we all have situations like that.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm ready for the rematch tomorrow. So.
There you go. That's the attitude. Get them back. Take it to game 3, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, good luck to both of you as we continue on. Any closing words from yourself or Data World if you're still around?
Not really. I mean, thank you guys very much for pretty sure amazing commentary and tracking. Jumping in very, very short term.
Yeah, especially that it speaks volumes for your dedication. So, thanks.
Well, I assume I can speak for both myself and Mally. It has been our pleasure. Very exciting race to watch. And once again, yes, Zelgadison, thank you so much for tracking for us, keeping those items right up to date, not missing anything at all. You were fantastic. I believe that's going to lead to us closing this up here. If you've liked what you've seen, if you want to hit that !R command and consider throwing these fine folk a follow, go for it. They may appreciate it. We have on Speed Gaming 4, this very channel, coming up in another 10 minutes, Problems IRL versus Fred F. Coughlin. So that'll be a good matchup. We've got another good matchup that's going to be on Speed Gaming 5 in also 10 minutes between Dat Losset and Elminster. So, I mean, take your pick. Those are both very, very high tier races that you don't want to miss. And of course, we've got plenty more throughout the evening and all weekend as we continue on through the Link to the Past randomizer tournament brackets. Melee, anything else? Am I forgetting anything?
No, I think you got it all covered. It was a lot of fun commentating this with you, so thank you for having me.
Quite a pleasure. That being said, then, I'm in the name of DT, along with Melee and Zelgadison on tracking. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Stay tuned. We've got more exciting rando action coming on up. Have a great day otherwise.